Hello guys, Assalamu alaikum, friends, students, and whoever is watching my video. Hope all of you are doing good and doing good with your studies and preparing well for your examinations. I'm running, like I have repeated several times in my videos, that I'm running a series of videos about audit and assurance, especially for accountancy students and those who are studying audit and assurance. I'm currently discussing basic concepts of audit and assurance, then I will go towards the advanced one. Uh, in my last videos, I discussed about the basic concepts. If you don't understand, do watch my videos. It will really help you to understand in a layman approach, you can say. So I was discussing I have already discussed in my videos about what is an audit, external audit, internal audit, and what are inherent limitations, what is expectation gap, why we do external audit, why we do internal audit. All these concepts have been discussed in my previous videos. Today we are going to learn about the professional ethics that is required to be followed by as an ACCA member or whichever accountancy qualification, professional qualification you are pursuing right now. So professional ethics is very important, not just in your practical life, in your workplace, and as a professional accountant or as a professional ACCA, you need to practice professional ethics. So let's start with this video and understand what is basically ethics in the context of a practitioner as an external auditor, or you can say as a professional ACCA or an accountancy member. Uh, First line is basically practitioners. Practitioners here means the external auditor, because we are studying here audit and assurance. So wherever you will see this word practitioner, that means you are referring to the external auditors here, or you can say just auditors. Practitioners need to behave and be seen to behave in an ethical, professional manner, right? Practitioners need to behave or be seen to behave in an ethical and professional manner in all terms, in all manners, right? This means taking active steps to act in an ethical manner in every professional situation. When you practice, if you're studying right now and giving your examinations, when you will complete and go towards the practical life, or when you will face the practical situation, so you have to ethical professionally in every situation. You will face different ethical situations or ethical dilemmas where you have to behave ethically. And how you have to behave, what are the circumstances that you could face, I will be discussing in my later videos, or might be in this video as well. So the next point is professional accountants have a responsibility to act in the public interest. As a professional accountant, you should be acting in the public interest, because you are working on behalf of the public. You are representing public within a corporate or an organization. So because that is why independence is also important for an auditor, which we will be discussing later in the video. So because you are behaving, or you are acting in the public interest or on behalf of the public, so you have to you have to behave ethically. Like in certain situations you might have to face certain circumstances. Let's take an example. If you are going in a firm, an auditing firm, and you are posted at certain clients, and for example you went there and your father or your brother is there, so uh, you have to you don't need to defame your profession. You need to act professionally in that situation, or ethically, because there could be several threats as well, that could threaten your not just profession, or just the external audit, overall external audit profession, right? Next one is the purpose of assurance engagement is to increase the confidence of the intended user, right? Like I have already discussed in my previous videos as well, and now I'm discussing again. The intended users are normally government, normally your customers, normally those who are using your financial statement, right? So the purpose of assurance engagement is to increase confidence. Means you can't say, like I have repeated several times, that order provide reasonable assurance, but still it increases the confidence of the intended user, because they are means without audited financial statements, you know, and with audited financial statement, obviously the confidence of the intended user will increase, because someone has looked into those numbers. After that they are looking those numbers, so in that manner you can say the confidence of the intended user will increase after auditing or uh, uh, after auditing or verifying those numbers. Therefore, the users needs to trust the profession who is providing the assurance. Like external audit is a separate profession in our accountancy profession. In order to be trusted, the assurance provider need to be independent of their client. This is a very, very important concept. Independent. Independence means unbiased, like I have discussed previously as well. Unbiased, neutral, and all that. Independence is very important in case of especially external audit. Internal audit is also important, independence, but there is a low level of independence compared to external audit. So independence is very important. You could not just combine with your client to draw those financial statements, although the primary responsibility of the financial statement is with the management, but still when you are verifying those numbers, you should provide an independent view over those financial statements. Otherwise there is no need for external audit. The primary purpose in layman you can say is that someone coming from external to the organization and giving view over those numbers which the management has drawn. Are you getting my point? Hopefully you are getting my point. If you don't, then you can comment below. Moving forward to the other concept, that is basically independence. What is independence? Independence can be defined as having freedom from situations and relationships. Freedom means your opinion in different situations and relationships is independent, where objectivity would be perceived to be impaired by a reasonable and informed third party. Reasonable and informed third party can be a relationship, like I talked about, that if you are going on a client and you are hired by the firm and you are going to the client and your brother is working there, your father is the CFO of that organization. So in that case, your relationship uh, could impair could impair your independence and objectivity, uh, for that for which objective you are coming to the client, that is basically the external audit. It may impair. So in that case you have to apply some safeguards which we'll discuss later, but independence need to be free from uh, these type of situations, not just relationship or others as well. Let's take in one more example. If, for example, you are working in an industry other than the firm, and you're working for a long period of time. After that, you were hired by the some firm like Big Four EY. You hired by the EY. Then after that, you get to know that the same organization in which you are working is the client of EY as well, and you are being posted on that client. So here, this situation is an ethical situation, or you can say ethical dilemma, that how you have to act in that situation. So there are certain safeguards and protections, you can say, that we will be discussing later in the topic. Now, moving forward further, yes, conceptual framework. The next thing is conceptual framework. Like if you are early in your studies, let me tell you that there is a code of ethics, or you can say code of conduct, you can say. So organization maintain code of ethics to deliver to handle different situations within the organization and workplace. So there is a code of ethics for ACC as well. There is a code of ethics for ICAP, CA Pakistan, and other professional qualification like ICW as well. So there are different code of ethics, or mostly the code of ethics are same. The reason behind is that IFAC through the ISB has issued a code of ethics, as has the ACCA Code of Ethics and Conduct. So IFAC, when IFAC, that is International Federation for Accountants, right? So if IFAC is issuing something or some code of conduct or code of ethics, then that should be the code of conduct for all the professional qualification like ACC as well, ICW as well, CA Pakistan as well, Indian C as well, or Australian New Zealand C as well. Different professional qualification normally, not normally you can say, and they follow IFAC. So they have to adopt that code of conduct. Yes, but in certain situations they modify different ethical situation according to their country and all that, right? So that is why the ACCA code of conduct is more close to IFAC. ISB is the International Ethics and Standard Board for Accountants, has issued a code of ethics and has the ACCA, right? Next one is, however, both of these codes have the same rules and all to the all intents and purpose identical. The purpose is the same for both ACC Code of Ethics and IFAC as well. Hopefully you have got this point as well. Moving forward, conceptual framework. Again, they are talking about the code of conduct of ACCA and IFAC as well. Both follow a conceptual framework which identifies, number one, fundamental principles of ethical behavior, how you have to behave, what is the fundamental principles of ethical behavior, how you have to fundamentally behave in different ethical situations, right? Next one is potential threat to compliance with these fundamental principles. What are basically threats and fines and penalties if you are not complying with these fundamental principles? Are you getting the point? So both code of conduct have these rules and regulations. Next one is possible safeguards which can be implemented to eliminate the threats identified or reduce them to an acceptable level. Look, you cannot completely diminish all the ethical difficult ethical situation. You cannot eliminate. You will always face all these ethical situations during your practice, during your practical life. You will be facing, not just at workplace, you also face in your personal life as well, different ethical situations. So why we can't understand if someone is saying that you will not be facing any ethical situation during your practical or professional life. So safeguards are possible. In that situation, if you are facing something, then these code of conducts have issued some safeguards that how you can reduce those threats and to an acceptable level, and how you can eliminate, possibly you can't say that that the threats will be completely eliminated. It will still remain, but they can be reduced to an acceptable level. Are you getting the point? Perfect. Moving forward, ethical guidance can take their either principle based or rule based approach. Principle based approach and rule based approach you must have studied in your earlier studies, like in your business management, or like in there is a paper FBT, fundamental in business and technology. There are certain SBL level as well if you talk about ACCA. So ethical guidance can either take principle based approach, that is more flexible, and rule based approach. Remember, principle based approach is a UK based approach, you can say, and ACCA is a UK based. ACC headquarters is in UK, you know. So ACCA is a UK based qualification, so they mostly be using the principle based approach, right? Rule based approach, whereas is more relevant to US qualifications. So the ethical guidelines for US qualifications will be based on rule based approach, whereas principle based approach will be for UK based qualification, right? Like SEMA, ACCA, ICCA as well. Next one is a conceptual framework relies on a principle-based approach. Like I said, because this is ACCA, we are mostly focusing towards ACCA. That is why both IASB and ACCA adopt principle-based approach, like I earlier discussed. Moving forward further, hopefully you are understanding what is basically ethics. Uh, uh, Ethics and ethics is more of a subjective issue, right? Let me move forward. Yes, principle and rule based approach. The difference between principle and rule based. So we will not discuss in much depth here. This is a topic for SBL mostly, but a little bit about why, because we are studying ethics. So we will be more focusing toward principle based approach. So that is why I'm discussing here. Principle based approach requires compliance with the spirit of the guidance, right? Rule based approach may be easier to follow because rules are clearly defined. Principle based approach is more flexible, like I said. Whereas in rule based approach, there would be rules. You have to adopt those rules in order to follow something. So principle is more flexible. You can change the guidelines. You can uh, depend upon the situation. That can be changed depends upon the situation, right? Next one is requires the accountant to use professional judgment. Like I said, it is a although ethic is a subjective issue, but if you're further following the principle based approach as well, it is more subjective now. So accountant has to use their professional judgment in case of principle based approach, and an in rule based approach needs frequent updating to ensure the guidance applies to new situations. There would be rules for every new situations. There would be rules for the current situations. So it would be more rigid, you can say. Next one is flexible, so can be applied to new, unusual, rapidly changing situations. Flexible, and here may encourage accountants to interpret requirement narrowly to order to get around the spirit of the requirements. Spirit of the requirement means guidelines or rules specific. You have to meet certain guidelines. Means if there is something rule that uh, you can and go, you like in simple way, if you can your at your home or residence, there are certain rules that you cannot go out at night after 12, so you have to obey that rule, right? So may encourage accountant to interpret requirement narrowly in order to get around the spirit of the requirements. Next one is in principle-based approach. Principle may be applied across national boundaries where laws may not. Where there are no laws, there are no strong guidelines about the law. So principle-based approach can be applicable because it is more flexible, can be adopted easily. But rule-based approach are more rigid and more uh, more specific to their countries. Virtually impossible to be able to deal with every situation that may arise because there are guidelines, and if something is out of those guidelines, then that is not possible to apply those rules there, right? So particularly across various national boundaries and in a dynamic industry, so it is very difficult to apply rule-based approach in different uh, ethical or and different situation, right? Next one in principle, in the last one is also can still incorporate specific rules for ethical situations like to affect many firms. Uh, that this point means that there could be different decisions based on situations, right? If someone has faced the same situation in a different for let's say in KPMG, and they are following principle based approach, there might be different decisions, or there might be different circumstance, might be different decision, right? But if some same thing has happened at PwC, I'm talking about firms because we are studying uh, audit assurance. So that is why I'm discussing the firms and different situations, and my experience is also from audit firms. So that is why I'm discussing firms. So if the same situation has occurred or happened at PwC, so there might be different situations if they are following different decisions if they are following principle based approach. So that is the core difference between rule based and principle based. You can remember these through that principle based approach are more flexible and easy to apply, whereas rule based approach is bit of rigid, and there are certain guidelines that you need to follow in order to apply or follow rule based approach. Are you getting my point? One more slide, I guess. Then this would be over. Consequences if you're not uh, complying with these things, these ethical codes. So what is written here, practitioners should apply the spirit of the code in everyday practice. Professional bodies such as the ACC have the right to discipline members who fail to comply with the code of ethics through a process of disciplinary hearings. It could be hearing lawsuit as well if you're in UK, especially um, because ACC is more strong in UK and all in Europe region. So there could be fines, suspension of membership, withdrawal of membership, lawsuits, all that. So you need to be beware about all these things, that you are in compliance with all these codes, and you're complying with the ACC Code of Ethics and IFAC Code of Ethics. Right? If you're a professional accountant, you must be complying, not just like thinking like these are the ethical guidelines, so I don't need to worry about that. But I will say you need to comply with these. Like you can take these as a law in your country. It would be more better to avoid such type of circumstances and consequences. Right. So this was my video about ethics and professional code of ethics for ACC and IFAC. Hopefully you understood. It's not over yet. Ethics is a very key topic at audit admissions level, so there is a huge topic further, so that I will be discussing in my next videos, especially the threats, the ethical threats that an accountant and an external auditor face during different ethical situations. So we will be discussing later in my videos. Hopefully you like my video and understood every concept. So uh, uh, do watch my videos, all video, like, share and subscribe. I will be here soon with a new video. Till then, goodbye. Thank you so much.